Hello, this video will show you how to complete some of your end of chapter exercises. The ones that I will review will be similar to your exercises, but the numbers will be different. So you can use this as a guide to help you complete your exercises. Also, don't forget that you should always download and use the exercise template that I provided to you within Blackboard. So you can see here, if you click on the assignments link and then click on the particular folder, you will see that there is an exercise template that you can download. This is a Word document. It lists all of your end of chapter questions, and it also has select check figures. So make sure to always use that also. And good luck with your homework assignments. In this video, I will go over alternate exercises 14, 7, 8, and 9. So these will be similar to your homework questions, exercise 14, 7, 8, and 9, except the numbers will be different. First of all, I want to review with you how to compute cost of goods manufactured. You will start with the direct materials and add direct labor, also add factory overhead. These three items equal the cost of goods manufactured. To get the direct materials used, you start with the beginning balance, add the materials purchases, that gives you the materials available, subtract the ending materials balance, and that will give you the direct materials used. I will show you how to compute the cost of goods manufactured and the cost of goods sold using these numbers, and we will go over Garkin Company. Cost of goods sold, you should remember from financial accounting. We'll start with our beginning inventory of finished goods, add our cost of goods manufactured that we just went over. That will give us the cost of goods available for sale, and then subtract the ending finished goods inventory to get cost of goods sold. And you should also recall that cost of goods sold belongs on the income statement. We subtract it from revenue to get the gross profit. So these are the numbers that we're going to work with for Garkin. First, we'll do the cost of goods manufactured. Start with our direct materials. We'll add direct labor and the factory overhead items. To get the direct materials, we'll start with our beginning inventory, which is listed here, 8,000. Add our raw materials purchases, which is right here. Add those two together to get the materials available, and then subtract our ending raw materials inventory of 6,000 to get the direct materials used. Direct labor is given as 22,000, and then factory overhead, we're going to pick out the items that are factory overhead items. Anywhere you see the word factory, that's going to be a clue that that's a factory overhead item. So we'll list the rental cost on the factory equipment, the factory utilities, indirect labor, because remember that our cost of manufacturing is direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead. Included in factory overhead would be indirect materials and indirect labor, along with other items. And we have repairs on the factory equipment. We will add those four items together to get the total factory overhead. Now we can get the total manufacturing costs by combining direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead. Next, we need to add any work in process that we had at the beginning of the period. So here we had 17,000. We'll get a subtotal here to equal total cost of work in process, and then subtract the ending work in process inventory of 21,000 to get our cost of goods manufactured. Next, we'll look at cost of goods sold. So we'll start with our beginning finished goods inventory, add our cost of goods manufactured to get the total available for sale. Then we want to subtract our ending finished goods inventory because we haven't sold that yet. We still have it. That will give us our cost of goods sold. So on our income statement, we will subtract 82,000 from our revenue to get our gross profit. So revenue is 165, subtract cost of goods sold to get gross profit. Then we will also subtract our other expenses, so our operating expenses, which includes selling and general and administrative expenses. Add those together, subtract from gross profit to get our net income. We also want to look at the balance sheet. So this is just a partial balance sheet. We're going to compute the total current assets. So of course cash is an asset and accounts receivable. Now we have 3 inventories. When we are looking at a manufacturing company, we have 3 separate inventories which consist of raw materials. So these will be our ending balances here. So raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. Then we can add all of that together to get our total current assets. Next, we're going to look at something called prime cost and conversion cost. Prime costs consist of direct materials, which you computed previously, and direct labor. Conversion costs consist of direct labor and factory overhead. So we just have to add these together. Here's our prime cost, direct materials. So remember, we had to start with our beginning balance, add the purchases, subtract the ending to get direct materials used and direct labor. And then adding those together gives us our prime cost. Now we can compute the conversion costs, which are direct labor and those factory overhead items, and add those together. Make sure to use the exercise template that I provided for you in Blackboard when you're working on your homework. So make sure that you either print that out or can view it on your computer, because it lists all of the questions along with certain check figures. So it's very important to make sure that you are using that as your resource while you're completing your chapter exercises.